And then we came across one, and it was an elk and a cow, it was a cow and a calf, and the calf was feeding. It was fairly large, and I thought, how the devil did you get under there? The way they twist and turn.
Your birthday and official adoption day. So, would you get your dog? No, it was my niece. We finalized her adoption on Friday.
Oh, really? How neat.
All right. Good.
We're almost ready.
Okay.
Less than a minute, actually. Okay, we're live.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Village of Ruidoso special meeting. It's October the 30th, 10:30 in the morning. If you will stand, we'll have a moment of silence, and then we'll have the pledge. Pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right, thank you, everybody. And hopefully on your top of mind awareness and on your heart is what's going on over in Israel. And how crazy all that is. Can we get a roll call, please, ma'am?
Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Eby.
Here.
Councilor Letterman.
Here.
Councilor Salas.
Here.
Councilor Hooker.
Here.
Councilor Coughlin.
Here.
Councilor Jackson.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Agenda items are 5. We will start with the first one, discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2023-36, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2024 budget quarter ending September 30th, 2023 for certain funds and application to the Local Government Division, LGD, of the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, DFA, for the approval thereof. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Starkovich.
Good morning, Mayor, councilors. Morning. This is our first budget adjustment for the fiscal year, and as you know, our first budget adjustment is always the hugest of the whole year, and that's because we are rolling over several things, capital projects that were not completed at the end of June, at the close of our fiscal year, any purchase orders that were open, but the goods or the services had not been received or paid for by the end of the fiscal year, or there were balances, budget balances that were still available that they needed to be opened into the new fiscal year. And one of those examples would be donations. A lot of our departments receive donations from the public, and they are included in their budget, and at the end of the year, whatever monies they have left over, I just roll them over to the new fiscal year. That also would happen in the SURF, where departments sell their old vehicles, equipment, and then usually we have an auction or we sell on the public surplus website. Any funds that are tagged to their department or have not been used are rolled over into the new fiscal year. Another note on the donations, these were the balances at the end of June. If they do receive new balances, the monies would come in as revenue, and I would have to do another budget adjustment to increase the revenue for the donation and the expense for the actual expenditure. We do keep a detailed general ledger of all the donations, so if you ever want to see what canine donations were or what the fire department used their donations are, we could always provide a summary for you. So this adjustment actually totaled 55 million, let me get the exact amount.
You got 555.
I know, I had an extra
So I was
5
like,
right there.
woohoo.
I know, I started looking at it and go, those numbers don't add up to
I
that.
was only out of town for a few days, so.
Right, my finger got stuck. So it's 55,103,766. So for our discussion today, we are gonna stay, with the spreadsheet that's called In Your Packet Resolution Report, 09/30/23. And you know what, you're in it, if it looks like, the title of it is the Department of Finance and Administration, Local Government Division, Financial Management Bureau, Schedule of Budget Adjustments. That's what it will be. One other side note on the agenda memo, if you want to see what the increases are by fund, they are also listed out on the agenda memo. So this is pretty lengthy, so whenever you need to, stop me. If you need further
Tell us
explanation.
which one it is again on the attachments that you're going to
Resolution report,
be. Okay.
09/30. So we're gonna start with the general fund. The general fund transfers in increased 24,604. It's because there's a transfer from the law enforcement retention fund for the PD retention grants. So one thing that DFA, which I kind of hate, is they want to treat everybody the same in New Mexico regardless the size of your municipality. So if you put grants into the general fund, state statute requires you to reserve 8% of those budgeted expenditures. So sometimes these grants are one-time deals, so a lot of the smaller municipalities can't afford or don't have enough cash balance to cover that additional reserve for all these grants. So DFA makes us record any grants outside of the general fund so that the smaller municipalities don't have to increase their reserve. So for us, we have enough cash balance where we could actually cover it. So what'll happen is that the money will come out through a special revenue, usually the intergovernmental grants, unless DFA has created a specific special revenue fund for that particular grant. And then you'll see the monies coming out of that grant and coming back into the general fund because that's where we actually spent the money. So you'll see this is for Fire Fund, LEPF, and some of the other grants that are coming in. Overall, the general fund expenditures increased to 1.3 million, and a lot of it is from rollovers. The rollovers in the general fund were for legal fees at $25,017. The audit at $49,750, safety funds at $39,300. The law enforcement retention fund PD stipends $24,604. The PD's donations at $13,132. Consolidated dispatch server $12,136. Fire donations $68,75. There was a fire truck for $69,093. As you know, last year, because of the supply chain, you will be seeing a lot of trucks and equipment that are being rolled over just because we placed the order and they were just so far out, so. The Lincoln County Hazard Mitigation Plan at $73,500. There was an emergency manager vehicle at $69,093. The Chapter 54 rewrite at $80,566, lean and clean at $85,585. The McBride Fire / Snow Removal $252,552. As you recall, when we went into the McBride Fire, I was spending out of snow removal monies until we could shore up with the state to determine how much they are gonna pay us. So I believe we're close, so I have to go back and reconcile those two and figure out how much I have for snow and how much is for the fire. So that will be coming back in another probably adjustment later in the year. The senior center donations, $10,183. The swimming pool pump room remodel, $53,074. Parks and Rec donations, $22,006. The White Mountain redesign, $5,000. Master plan White Mountain, $38,306. The wayfinding, $24,563. And then the convention center had to reupholster some chairs for $447. Utilities, any savings that we have off of utilities from the prior year, I roll them over into the new fiscal year in case for some reason our projections on utilities for departments within the general fund are wrong or gas goes up. It's just a little bit of money that we can move around. The 2021 flood, $73,630. The solar study, $63,697. And of course, during the, one of the council meetings, the humane contract was increased by 15,000.
Oh, that should be humane. Okay.
I
was
know.
looking at that.
I know,
going,
I just
human
saw that.
contract?
Better check
So
my
the
figures.
utilities was an increase of 242?
Yes,
Okay, because you were talking about it, but we never said the figure.
okay.
So.
On that, Judy, is that for just general fund or is that all departments?
It's all a general fund. It's because sometimes in the summer for watering,
Right,
or
right,
if it's a colder winter, the general fund has a lot more facilities.
Yes.
And we had a lot of new facilities that we really don't know what the total projected utilities would be, so that's why I only do it in the general funds. The other funds have not come close to any projections, so it's the only one I ever kind of worry about is general fund.
So so this was money that was rolled over, you said, that was
Yes.
expended then, 242?
Yes, so we budget some of our expenditures, and of course, we don't reach budget, but sometimes utilities can be touchy, just because I don't know where it's gonna be, whether it's gonna be a cold winter or what's gonna
sure.
happen. So it's just as a cushion that we can move it fast to keep the budgets positive. We'll move on to transfers out. We are transferring to streets because of their rollovers at 543, 657, and the VOR share of the New Mexico Department of Transportation grants for the Lynx and Moon Mountain Trails. These are the matches for the two new grants at 150, 239, and then, of course, the VOR share of the Close Road Bridge PW 94 closeout at 51,268. SGRT revenues rolled over. The stormwater drainage plan, which is grown as part grant, part loan, the total amount is 350, and the Water Trust Board loan grant at 5685 for $1,018,369. The expenditures for SGRT were for on-call engineering, 49,231. The drainage plan at 350. Two Rivers Phase 3, 3723, Water Plant Number 1, 58,694. Two Rivers Phase 4, 3862, the Horton Drainage, 509,364. Leak detection at 94,165, Master Plan at 41,525. Water rights leases, 369,529. Cleaning the drains at Grindstone, 214,445. Upper Canyon Diversion Design, 11,436. Eagle Creek Phase 2, 70,644. Wingfield Drainage, 60,000. River Wells Rehab, 861,257. Upper Canyon Diversion, 600,000. Phase 1 Alto Reservoir, 719,278. Country Club Tank, 2,531,133. Eagle Creek Phase 3, 1,859,697. Grindstone Dam, 112,724. Grindstone Spillway, 750 with the water tanks, 2,538,493. Greenwell, 270,469. Tank Restoration Phase 2, 653,484. And the debt service for Eagle Creek Phase 3 is 678,912. Any questions on SGRT? Moving on to the SURF. This is the fund where all the auction proceeds go in. So we are balancing the budget with interest income at 75,000, and then expenditures from the rollover from 23 are fire, 217,150. Now, the reason their balance is a little bit bigger than other people's is because when they send out our firefighters and our equipment to work other fires, they get RMP reimbursements. I was keeping the personnel part in general fund, and any monies that they had on equipment, we were putting in the SURF to try to get his balance up, because I know he has a need for fire trucks, and because of the timing on how far they're out, we needed to start saving money. So that's why you'll see his balance is a lot bigger than some of the other ones. Senior Center, 1,093, the Police, 11976, Water Production, 1,333, Water Distribution, 152, Parks and Rec, 14,540, the Treatment Plant, 5,278, Admin, 1926, Convention Center, 200, Airport, 5424, Street, 7964, P&Z, 7523, Solid Waste, 30,701, IT, 6426, the Courts, 152, Library, 7,116, and Purchasing, $36. On the next fund is the Fire Fund. This is the state allocation from the Fire Marshal. And when we budgeted back in May, the actual amount was $147,357 higher than what we had budgeted, so that's the increase. And then the rollover was a fire truck at $546,404, a Wildland Type 6 truck at $387,488. The contingency is usually any cash balance at the end of June that I'm rolling over. And so their contingency was $252,727, and a mobile air trailer at $201,206. I believe that was a grant too. And then there was additional fiscal year fire marshal funds of $147,357, and they're in supplies. On LEPF, or Law Enforcement Protection Funds, this is where the state allocates so much money per officer, and our actual allocation was $1,500 than what we had budgeted, so that's the added revenues. And then the 2023 rollover is the contingency, which is their cash balance of $40,994, and then the additional protection funds of $1,500. The next one is the Law Enforcement Recruitment Grant. We were awarded like $747,000, but they're gonna split it between 3 years. And last year was the biggest distribution, $400,000. This year is $225,000. We're just budgeting that, so you'll see the revenue and the expense. And then you'll see the transfer for the PD retention grant at $24,604. In the special library, they are rolling over a FinRun grant. It was a grant that had the need to help people budget, do financial planning. So the library was buying books and different things that would help you create a budget, look at investments, do anything that has to be with financial management. And a 2020 GEO bond that grant was $5,000, and the 2020 GEO bonds were $21,314. And then, of course, you'll see the expenditures for those library materials at $26,402. And then the HVAC system at $262,072, and a contingency of $64,75. Included in that HVAC system, last year they noticed that there wasn't a catwalk on the HVAC system, and they thought that's people climbing on the unit might have damaged it. So I know John and Levi got together and did a design, and they were contacting some contractors to see if they could build it, and I think it's gonna be about $10,000 to build that catwalk, and that $10,000 is actually included in that big figure, so it's already taken care of. In lodger's tax, we just increased $80,000 to the projection, and some of the expenditures were for the Wingfield Master Plan at $1,540, Billy the Kid Porch at $6,089, the light package for the stage at $48,850, Eagle Creek Complex Drainage, $81,67, Grindstone Concession, $31,355, Grindstone Paving, $75,42, Eagle Creek Parking, $39,517, the tennis courts at $129,928, Alto Stairs at $6,133, Alto Stream Habitat, $30,000, signage at $43,889, Wingfield House, $10,210, and then their contingency of cash is $125,44, and then to correct the media planning to the purchase orders was a decrease of $207,960.
Mayor, question. Going back to the light package, what is that for?
So originally, when we were looking at the stage, we had set aside like $80,000.
Okay, so it's for the stage. Okay.
But I'm not sure if that would be enough to even buy a light package. What happened is we had money set aside, and then the stage was a little more than what we budgeted. So we took
Right.
money off the lighting package and put it to the stage. So until somebody tells me to get rid of the money, I kind of just roll it over and roll it over, so.
Is that good?
Oh, good.
Well, I thought that we already had that one in
We
there.
approved it way back before the summer, I remember, to purchase it, so I don't know. But then also the signage, what signage?
The wayfinding signage, it was
Okay,
it
so
was a
it's the
project with
wayfinding.
Rodney, wanted to do something, I think in Midtown or somewhere,
Yeah,
Yeah,
to do signs for all the parks.
right.
okay.
And that should be
That's-
close.
That's like 2 years old.
Yeah, and then RMA, we were waiting on RMA because they were gonna
Ah, that's right. that's
design
right.
it similar. And so that's all been done, right?
Yeah, we're still finishing up design work, but yes, sir.
Okay, we need, who are we waiting on to finish that?
Groundwork Studio.
Yeah, let's call them. Will and poke some holes.
Judy, help me with the Wingfield House. Okay, so we've got 10,210.
It was for like fixtures or something that Tim Roberts had went to the committee about.
Okay,
And I thought it was like, I don't remember what exactly it was. I don't know if it was part of the TVs or the display cases. But it was, he had a plan and a list of items, what he wanted to buy, but off the top of my head, I can't
Okay,
remember
that-
what they were.
so what's the contingency?
That's the cash in the lodger's tax
Okay.
fund.
And then correct media planning to purchase orders.
We had put, the media planning at like 400,000, but the POs are only at 2, so it was just a double error. So we just reduced the budget to the correct amount of the PO.
So media planning for the village.
Mm-hmm.
Got it, okay.
Any other questions? On special events, we're rolling over, their cash in their account, 288,194. And then in the municipal gas tax, the revenues, rolling over their co-op grant at 148,000. And then on transfers in the gas tax is 543,657. And their expenditures was from their rollover, they bought a bulldozer but hadn't received it, 375. And then street materials at 38,657, and then, of course, the co-op at 148,000. So that's page 1. On special recreation, expenditures were the watershed projects at 59,728. As you recall, in special recreation, there's a division, I think it's 70-30 between watershed and parks. Grindstone bathroom at 86,278, Whibbit operations, 77,265. The reason you see the Whibbit operations as a rollover is because of the season. It starts in May, our fiscal year's in June. Any of those ending balances have to be rolled over because the season's from July to September, so it's just a rollover. And then, a Wingfield traffic study at 57.
Have we seen that traffic study?
This morning, actually, they're wanting to come down and do some heating and fire, and so I'm scheduling that.
Okay.
And then one of the bathrooms at Eagle Creek was short 8,443, so Parks is taking some of that money to shore it up later on in the intergovernmental grants. Intergovernmental grants is the catch-all for all our grants, so you'll see a lot of this. So fiscal year 23 rollover. Now, these are the old grants. The Lynx Trail NMDOT grant, 424,712. The Moon Mountain Trail grant, 199,108. The legislative appropriation for the senior center remodel, 52,000. Legislative appropriation for the senior center kitchen equipment, 32,826. The legislative appropriation for the Grindstone Pavilion, 72,327. The legislative appropriation for Eagle Creek bathroom, 63,923. The legislative appropriation for the building facades, 82,431. We expended everything, we just hadn't received the money back from the state, so we're only recording the revenue part on that
So
one.
we paid for it, and then the state is supposed to pay us back?
Yep, when they get around to it.
You said it's supposed to pay us
We
back.
had meetings with Diego,
Yeah.
whatever, acting this, that, or the other, and he had DHS, and he had some other people, and see about some of the other stuff that we're getting. But to the pavilion, what was the 72 grand for? The Grindstone.
Grindstone disc golf course.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, That's right. Gotcha, thank you.
And then, these are the actual new monies, and, I just got the grant award letter last week sometime. Links Trail, 7/12/36, the Moon Mountain Grant for 24 at 169,582. And then we have the legislative appropriation for the at-risk youth in Ruidoso at 100,000. And then a legislative appropriation for recreation at 500,000. And then the court was awarded a New Mexico Department of Public Safety coronavirus grant for 15,506, and that's for their sound machine, their sound, for the court, the sound package, and some computers and, a couple TVs, I believe.
So Judy, some of those, like the at-risk youth legislative appropriation, have we received that money already?
No, these are
Okay.
all reimbursements, so we have to pay out the money, and then we have to supply our council check. Most of these are going through DFA, so we have to supply a council check, and then you can apply for reimbursement.
Okay, so because it's something that we've been promised, that's why we're putting it into revenues now, even though we don't have the cash.
Because I have the signed grant agreements
Yeah.
that says they will, and once we have a grant agreement, they send us the reimbursement forms, so we're,
Okay, so that's your trigger for putting it into revenues, okay,
What,
and these were awarded,
just recently.
well, some of them,
Well, some of them
Yeah,
are
some
in
of-
back.
Last year.
yeah, some of them were.
Yeah, no, and I get the old ones, and it's just those new ones
Yeah.
that just, that was in during this legislative session, so that's why I
Yeah.
was questioning that.
what can that money go for?
For,
Well, that 100 grand goes to,
We're doing a sole source procurement.
Oh, that goes to,
I'm out.
High Mountain Youth.
got it, okay,
and then we
okay.
just have to oversee it or whatever.
That's right.
Once they actually
I
get
remember
approval
that.
and open as
Right.
as an overnight shelter.
I get, okay.
And Mayor Crawford, members of the council, it's a junior bill funding, and it expires June 30th of '24,
I
so.
gotta get after it.
Yeah.
And then the transfers increased for the VOR share of the new DOT grants for Lynx and Moon Mountain at 158,682. And then the expenditures, Lynx Trail at 497,087 dollars. Moon Mountain Trail 233,039. Senior Center remodel 52,000. Senior Center kitchen equipment, 1,759. The Grindstone Pavilion, 72,327. Eagle Creek bathroom, 72,366. Lynx Trails, 833,376. Moon Mountain, 198,481. And the courtroom sound package and computers, 15,506. And the at-risk youth, 100,000. And you'll notice that sometimes the expenditures don't equal the revenues. It's because we've already paid for them in a previous fiscal year. We're just waiting for them to give us the money back. The magistrate court, their cash in that fund was 81,400, and then, the final debt service schedule, increased to $8,700, so I had to allocate additional monies for that. On the DWI fund, revenues increased 73,085, the fiscal year reversion grant at 17,105, and the fiscal year 2024 DW grant final 55,980. And then expenditures were a rollover, the closeout of the old grant 23DG15, which was a reversion to the state. The forestry has a legislative appropriation for thinning at 70,765, and I believe they have to expend it by the end of this fiscal year. FEMA, we're rolling over the federal bridges on revenues, 6,641,611. The state share on the bridges is 1,659,679, and then the state still owes us on the sewer line 3,011,393. The transfers in is for the VOR share of the sewer line at 2.3 million, and then our share of the closeout of Close Road Bridge at 51,268. The rollover, the expenditures were high water marks, contract on bridges, 270,198, and the sewer line, 342,895. And then the sewer line construction rolls over at 12,689,333. The North Loop has 682, River Trail, 28,692. McDaniel, 1,211, Robin Road, 137,939, Sleepy Hollow, 105, $105,009, and Main Road 2, $154,080. On the GEO bond, we're getting ready to sell the Series 2023 proceeds, and that would be 1.5, but after we pay estimated fees of 50,000, we'll have 1.4 left in proceeds to spend on capital projects. The rollover for the GEO bonds were the meter endpoints at 8,473, Alto Plant number 3, 57,604, Paradise Canyon, 474,047, Pine Cliff, 2,385,369, and Country Club North Loop at 271,183. And then the 306 is New Mexico Capital Improvement, New Mexico Finance Authority Capital Improvements, and that's just the magistrate court. We have 9,600 left to pay the architect. I'm trying to get him to bill us. They're waiting for something about the warranty. So maybe we can get together and we can contact them to see if we can close out that loan and get it off the books. And the general capital improvements were the legislative appropriation for Horton at $2,077,369 and interest income of $60,000. The rollover on expenditures are Wingfield House, $52,721, Eagle Creek Waterline, $35,000, Upper Sardreth, $195,824, Sudderth Sidewalks, $26,787, New Mexico DOT grant for Gavilan at $35,799, New Mexico Department of Transportation grant, Recent Hall at $1,376,749, Horton Sewer Line, $14,802, and Wingfield House Ballards, $14,995.
What's that?
That's to keep the parking lot.
Oh, Ballards, yes, yes, got it.
We can remove them.
Right, I
Or
forgot.
put them back.
The public safety building is at $3,385,728. The public safety building furniture, $22,290. Demoing the Horton Shop building at $37,325, and then the access control panels for Horton at $10,845, and then Main Road 2 Bridge at $12,248. On the NMFA debt service, this is the transfer of
Judy,
residual.
before you go to that, public safety building, what is that?
That's Horton,
Oh, okay.
but on the legislative appropriation, it
They call
actually
it
call
public
it
safety
public
building.
safety,
Okay.
yeah. So on the NMFA debt service, we didn't use all the proceeds for construction on the magistrate court, so they're transferring the residual balance of $323,295 towards the debt service. So it's just gonna come off the top. And then on GEO bonds, you'll see the issuance of Series 2023 at 1.5, and then estimated bond issue costs at $50,000 for net proceeds of $1.4 million. On RJU, we are adjusting revenues to actual projections, water at $500,000 and sewer at $250,000. And then the rollover on 23 was for tank inspection at $6,602. There were some trucks at $170,487, water projects $35,709, Geo Hydro Services at $114,580, master plan rate analysis $89,991, Two Rivers $111,549, inventory at $11,114, manholes and parts $23,034, the water distribution building at $166,908, and then there was an additional 4 trucks at $228,076, the water line replacement $22,799, sewer line extensions $105,653, and some engineering amounts for $3,151.
Judy, real quick.
Uh-huh.
On the bond, the 1,000,005, so the $50,000 just gets taken off the top. We only get 1,450,000.
It's just an estimate because the bond council will give us a fee, and sometimes the financial advisor will give us some fees included in the issuance. Sometimes Hilltop won't send us a bill, and sometimes they do. It just
Okay.
depends if he's gonna
Okay.
pro bono it or not. And then usually we'll get an invoice from bond council, which is Chris Module.
Okay, thank you.
But if we end up paying like 10,000, then the proceeds will go up.
Sure, okay.
So the next big one is on the airport, and the reason that they have such a big increase is because it's the rollover of the grants. So the rollover on the revenue side of the federal part of the runway 1230 is 5,201,878. And then the state portion of that runway is 628,724. And then taxiway B is 100% state. So that's 3,937,770. And then the contract fuel adjustment to projection at 230. And then for the expenditure side, the taxiway B was 3,937,770. Runway 1230, 4,864,518. Their donations at 3946. They had a vehicle on order at 69,093. And then there was some building maintenance for an airport hangar door at 27,842.
Is that done? It is fixed finally? One that the wind blew in? And we're still waiting on the lights, or are they in? Oh, Lord.
Mayor, members of the council, we'll call Armstrong today, but they were still waiting on the fixtures for the taxiway.
I thought they were coming in like any time.
He thought like last Friday we may be receiving them, so we'll double check on that.
Okay.
Then we're gonna go to the Affordable Housing Trust. We're just rolling over building improvements at 159,718 and their contingency balance at 517,400. And then the rental, the affordable housing rental of the properties, we were just budgeting some debt service payments to the Mortgage Finance Authority. Our loan agreement says that we only have to pay $500 a year. However, if we can pay more, then we should. So we do have some extra cash coming in, so we're gonna try to pay $500 a month toward that.
What is the interest rate on that?
0.
Oh, 0?
Yeah. So.
I'd stretch it out as long as possible.
Well, so, $500 a month is what we're having to pay that loan back for 0 interest.
I'm trying to get it paid off in case we need to go back to them.
Get another, well, we're gonna need to go back
Yeah,
to them. But, so when will we get an accounting of actually seeing just what we're costing generating over there?
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, we get a monthly revenue statement from our property manager. We could get
Clear that
that.
with the council next time. I didn't see it on the manager's report. Was it there?
Okay.
It's because I have a couple of questions that I still don't understand where the money's coming for or what exactly it is. So I need to sit down with the bookkeeper to make sure that I'm understanding. But on average, we're getting like, just from Meacham properties after like expenses and stuff is like 9,000 or 10,000 a month.
Their statements are confusing because they take their fees based on when they receive it. So it's hard to line things up. I have the same issue with one of my rentals.
And then sometimes they'll call them a deposit, but then other times they'll call them prepaid rent.
Prepaid.
But then you're like, well, when does it become rent? Because you don't see anything coming back out of prepaid,
Right,
so,
right.
so
Yeah,
it's a
I've
little
got
bit,
one-
it's a
One
little bit
tenant pays
confusing.
every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, God,
Yeah,
it looks bad.
so I just gotta sit down and figure it out, but on average, we get a check every month.
That's
Is that
for
what I
all,
see?
is that for all properties on Meacham 603 as well? Okay.
But that 10,000, 11,000 is just for Meacham,
Meacham Meadows?
Meacham Meadows.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
Because I see people still moving in and out. I don't know I don't know what's going on, but I would just like to see how we're looking over there.
Do we have that all finished?
Yeah, everything's finished. I guess the millings, you put some more down and getting ready for winter. Because last time I was in there, it was really pretty good. And it's just some of those are hard to get in and out of.
Okay.
And then the treatment plants rollover was for legal 43,918, professional fees at 55,700, building maintenance paving projects 126,031, and the fine screens at 948,927. And then the transfer out for the VOR match on the FEMA sewer line at 2,342,196. Solid waste is adjusting revenues to actual projections of GRT 60,000 and fees 590,870. And then expenditures were the rollover is the master plan rate analysis at 45,345, his dumpsters at 168,43, And then some building improvements at $203,564, and $100,000 was set aside for the convenience center. And then on the internal service or risk management is the estimate of the fiscal year '24 insurance deductibles, which are now being paid by the departments, and the corresponding revenue and expenditures for those.
And we're having a meeting with, when is it, Ron, with the new company that's taking over the county, the 24th or 25th of November? You remember, Mike?
We have one that they want to show us on Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning. And they're about the transfer station over here.
Mayor Crawford,
roll-offs.
members of the council, yes, because they roll-offs or the compactors of see if they could unload them there at the transfer station, so they want to do a demo on that.
But they're taking over, is it the 24th of November?
24th of November.
Yeah, right after
Yes.
Thanksgiving, 25th maybe.
In that timeline,
Right
yes.
there.
So they're wanting to use our transfer
Well, it's the
station
same contract that we have with the county.
with Sierra.
Sierra contract.
Sierra, but through the county.
Right, right.
And so it's the county's contract,
Okay.
Sierra. So we're having to honor the one. And just this new outfit acts like they really know what's going on. They have some ideas to help us on big days and even some green waste and some other
Right.
things. I mean, actually, what was the gal's name, man? She looks so.
Her name is Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan.
Yes.
We've seen her around.
Yes.
Meetings, municipal league and stuff like that. I don't forget where she worked before, but she's been doing this.
Right.
Where? Los Lunas. And the guy was super knowledgeable and even had some ideas on our new totaled trash truck. The brand new one that got totaled. So we're looking at how fast we can get that back on the road. So we're dealing with the insurances and all that right now. We're gonna put a call into the self-insurers league to get the adjuster out here pronto, so, which pronto already went away about 2 weeks ago. And Jerome's doing good. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? I think it's a good job, dude, Judy.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of different things, ins and outs, and some time has passed since some of these is reminders. Any questions for Judy? Okay,
Thank you.
we need a motion to approve changes.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-36, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2024 budget quarter ending September 30th, 2023, for certain funds and application to the Local Government Division of the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration for the approval thereof.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any final discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
All right. Is it pink shirt time? Is somebody giving away shirts at the Bub Gum Factory?
So tomorrow.
Still October.
Still October.
Yeah. All right. Item number 2. Discussion and possible action on resolution 2023-37, updating fee structure for parks and recreation, summer and winter activities. Yes, gentlemen.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. So this was an oversight we caught when we revisited and redid this fee structure earlier this year. However, when looking through, we did not put the seasonal passes for the ice rink, the local season passes for the ice rink in them. So it's adding those in. I am proposing this year we go from $10 for a local season pass to $20. I think that's still a very fair price for those. The single day ticket for a single day entrance for the ice rink for a non-season pass holder is $20. And so that's just raising it to what the single day fee is to give them a season pass. And that does include skate rentals as well for the season.
So they pay for the pass in one day.
Yes,
For locals.
for locals.
So what defines local?
So it's Lincoln County and
Mescalero.
Mescalero.
I'd like to see it go back to Ruidoso residents. Because that's one of the big things we hear or at least I hear a lot about, is we need to do, as taxpayers and residents, we need to do more for the people that live here. And then when we start expanding that definition of locals, we're providing those same opportunities and benefits to people that aren't Ruidoso residents. And I think Ruidoso residents should have, if we're gonna do something in the local county in Mescalero, then we should have something else that's even better for Ruidoso residents. I think we need to, just like on the airplane, you take care of yourself first before you take care of anybody else.
Yeah, and we currently do that with our parking passes. Ruidoso residents are $10, the rest of Lincoln County, and is $20, and then the rest of New Mexico is $30. So we can look at doing kind of something similar, step out like that.
I would have to agree. I mean, we get some help on the libraries,
Right.
but
No, and we service the county as a whole.
Well, I understand that,
Half of our students.
But when you go to the county
Yeah.
county is more concerned about the county than they are Ruidoso. Sorry, it's just the way it is if you sit and listen to them. Same thing with Mescalero. They're more concerned about their people than they are about everybody else who comes to Mescalero, which is rightfully so. I completely understand that. But at the same time, I think we need to adopt that so that our local people, those that have a Ruidoso address, and if you move from one location to another and you haven't updated your ID, well, that's your problem because you're supposed to update it. If you have an ID that shows a Ruidoso address, then you get these benefits.
T-Bone? You've been here a long time. What do you got to say?
I agree. I mean, a lot of people from Ruidoso Downs, you go to the schools and stuff like that, but I would say the same. We could do the 10 and 20.
Or I would propose 20 and 30. I think it's fair that one day's worth of cost covers you for the season. And then go up to 30 for the rest of Lincoln County.
I'd be good with that. Just I think that the locals need a break over the county residents.
I agree.
Okay, I think the consensus, we'll make that in the motion.
In here, I don't see anything about a daily rate. So you're just not even offering a daily rate?
It is, if you go to the first page, which would be page 17, or actually second page, page 17 in your packet, it says dailies, and then ice skating daily pass is $20.
Dailies. The way we get it is completely different from you.
The top of the page has
Oh, there it is.
recreational family
Okay.
pass daily, and then daily passes.
Okay, well, that's kind of, I was looking to see everything for ice skating altogether.
Yeah, the way, and I just need to rewrite it, the way it's been set up is all the season passes are together, all the daily passes are together, all the rentals are together, things like that.
Yeah, formatting needs to be adjusted too. You got some that are right justified, some are centered, some are left justified as far as prices. Sorry.
Could I ask, on your proposed rate increase for, Ruidoso residents for $20, now is because you think that's fair or because the, skating rink needs to have shored up on their revenues?
No, our revenues are fairly good for last year. We stayed in the black. So I just believe it's fair, and we did have several comments of people visiting town that weren't happy that they're paying $20 for one day and locals are paying $10 for a full season. And so I think that might.
Called home field advantage.
It is a little bit, yeah.
They're more than happy to purchase a home here and pay property taxes and all the other expenses that locals have, so.
How many local
save that
passes did
$10.
you sell last year?
We sold 850 local passes last year.
50?
But that was under the Lincoln County umbrella, right?
Yes.
All the way out.
And I do know that you guys have occasionally done free skate days. for locals?
They did 2 years ago, and then, because they didn't have a season pass for locals,
We didn't do that last year?
we didn't do it last year. With the season pass for locals, we didn't do a free skate day.
I'm getting old, because all this stuff seems like it was just like, you know,
We
a
did-
couple of months ago.
We did do some,
That's why you're moving to Florida,
I
remember?
guess, yeah. Oh, I forgot, that's where I'm going, okay.
Already
we did do some reduced rate things last year for like the homeschools.
Sure,
Groups.
sure.
We did, for $5 a kid for the homeschool group to come. The Boys and Girls Club might have come. Did y'all come last year? I don't remember. I think you just come swimming
I
at the
think it's been a
discount
couple of
rate.
years ago that we came.
But for those big groups that want to come, bring a lot of kids in one big group, we do, evaluate and do some reduced
Like a
rate.
church group or whatever?
Yeah, that want to bring a lot of people, we look and do a reduced rate for them, but.
And that's great, that's great.
Why would
service.
we do a homeschool reduced rate?
So the homeschool group in Rio Del, so we do a lot of things with them. And so they'll bring like 20 or 30 kids basically for a PE type of session.
Got it.
And so we'll do a reduced rate
Got it.
for them just to, and most of them, it's, you know, we do $5 a kid and I try to tell them, like, just buy a season pass because they'll come multiple times throughout the year. And I'm like, just buy a season pass and it's cheaper on you, but some of them want to, some of them don't, so.
So anytime a homeschool goes, they get only $5?
No, it's
Okay,
just
just
for when,
when
yeah,
the
when the
group-
whole group goes.
Got it.
It's just when the whole group goes.
Sure, okay.
Anything else?
That'd be it.
When do you expect to open that puppy up?
The day after Thanksgiving, I got word today that we will have staffing then, so we'll.
And you will have juice? Or you got
Yes,
juice
It
now?
is there. They finished it on Friday, so the LeMay will finish his portion this week and
'Cause, yeah, we need to get that out on information, because we're getting a lot of questions. I've been asked
Yeah.
3 or 4 times.
I've been seeing.
yeah, it was actually Saturday morning, T-Bone drove
Yeah.
by and saw that the transformer was there, so.
Well, they were supposed to pull the wire today.
Yeah.
But I guess they got free on Friday and pulled the wire.
Afternoon.
I drove by Friday afternoon and they were just hooking it up. I didn't see the transformer there, and Saturday morning I drove by and there it was.
Hallelujah.
So you're talking Black Friday of opening, the day, that Friday right after Thanksgiving. That would be a great tie-in with the RMA. Try and combine the two, is come shopping in Midtown and send your kids up to the skating rink.
So we'll work with them some. Stephanie, their new executive director's worked with us really, really well. So
Who?
Stephanie, I don't know her last
Garcia.
name. Garcia.
She's married to Joey Garcia.
She works at Backcountry Attitudes for Lance. She's been really good.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And
Has
I'm-
short
I'm
hair,
assuming-
short
Short hair.
spiky,
Yeah, I'm
short spiky
assuming they're
hair.
married.
Yeah, short spiky hair.
Well, we don't assume around here anymore. You know what, assuming will get you.
You and me.
In Mayor,
Okay, well, good to
Mayor
hear.
Council, that was that's why we placed this on this agenda, so we can move forward and get all the information out and work with the PIO, so.
And then next council meeting, we'll put it on the agenda for Dakota and those guys to bring her in,
Yes,
so we can meet her,
yeah,
everybody.
that would be good to have that, yes.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion with the change. Would you like to proctor that?
Well, before
Old
there's a
dude.
motion here, I just want to be clear on what is being proposed as far his
Step rate?
rate. Yes, because what are you proposing there, Council Coughlin?
I believe it was brought forward that Matt said 20 for Ruidoso residents and 30 for Lincoln County and Mescalero residents.
I agree with that.
Or just non-residents?
Well, no, not non-residents, because that
Then
would
it
be
goes up
Texas
again.
and Indiana and everywhere else.
But I'm thinking they're coming in for 2 days.
They pay both days. They haven't had a
And let me
qualm
tell
with
you,
that.
I just went to a place called the Sphere, and I said, I'll get you guys
I
a
didn't know
beer.
the mayor paid that much.
And it was $20 a beer,
Oh, yeah.
and everybody was happy to get it. So you go somewhere, you expect to spend money, I guess.
Don't sit in the 100 section above row 20.
We were way up, I mean, we were,
You got, there's an overhang that blocks off your view. With the-
oh, really? Well, we were in great seats. So which did you see, you two or the,
I didn't see any, but
oh, you just been reading
I'm
reports?
just a counselor. I don't make the kind of money.
Yeah,
the mayor
that's
makes.
right, you don't. The mayor really makes the
They
money.
talked about it on Facebook, I bet.
Well,
Yeah.
you ought to be on this council side.
True.
Yeah, that's right. They're really getting ripped over here. Okay, we'll entertain a motion. You good down there, Counselor Eby?
Yes.
Okay, so what?
Mr. Mayor, move approval of Resolution 2023-37 updating fee structure for Parks and Recreation summer and winter activities as amended for Ruidoso residents at $20 and those in Mescalero and the county of Lincoln at $30. Did I get it?
Yes.
Second.
Nailed it.
Any discussion? And a bottle of water was $4.
I believe it. That's cheap.
12
bottle of water.
ounces.
That's cheap bottle of water.
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Hooker,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
All right.
See, I would just stand out on the street and watch the show on the outside of the sphere.
Well, you can see that from all over town.
Well, I know.
And it was pretty
That
interesting.
doesn't cost anything.
$2.2 billion to build that, seats 17,000 people. Okay, item number 3, discussion and possible action on updates to the ice skating rink standard operating procedure.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this has been changed every year, and it's been changed and I believe brought every year of the 2022, 23, 23, 24 kind of sort of thing. I want to get away from that and just bring a standard operating procedure that doesn't have a date on it and then that we can operate by. You'll see some of the differences are taking out when the actual start and end dates are. Those I do have in there that it'll be set by, the hours and dates of operation will be set by Parks and Recreation Director. The changing of, some of them had specifications of what color wristbands would be what, and so that just tied our hands to have to order that color when I have 1,000 of a different color.
Sure.
Some of it is just simple things, no staff shall leave the ice rink by themselves at the end of their shift. It's dark at the end of their shifts. I don't want them leaving one off. They need to leave as a group. They're adding the procedures of cleaning to their job duties, and their standard operating duties, things like that, and then also changing the price. We will have one amendment in here, which will be changing the residency status or for the locals for season passes.
Well, I think you should just remove the fee section, otherwise you're gonna be updating that every year. Just take it out completely because we already did the fees.
The fees.
And then this fee structure, is in conflict with what we just approved because on here you have a $12 daily, session with no skate rental. There was nothing in that other chart.
Thought it was in there, but I'll have to look.
Yeah, no, you have ice skating daily pass $20, but there's nothing about,
Okay.
unless it's not right next to the other daily rate.
We didn't sell very many of those. It was very rare if somebody came from out of town and brought their own ice skates.
Yeah.
They're in training.
You did have a few.
We had a few.
we had a few.
We had a couple. But a majority, that had their own skates lived in town. I don't see it. I thought it was on.
And so the procedure, you're talking about cleaning, but getting the slough off the ice.
Yes.
So we have a good procedure for that.
Yes, we have the scraping tools to do it, and then you use a water hose and a sprinkler to sprinkle the ice back on it.
I'm talking about during the night, because there was times when it was so that, there was just a path through it. There had been so much activity on it, we hadn't got out there with just, it's not a broom, but it's I don't know what you
It's
call
a
it.
metal scraper.
And you just push it over to the side, so we're doing that during the activities?
Yes, if we do have a lot of people, we do it during the activities.
Okay, and then you resurface it at night and let it freeze over?
Yes, sir. And while I was in Dallas, I actually did visit with the Zamboni, the company Zamboni, about some of their smaller units that might be a possibility for next budget year for this size of rink.
And the generator ought to be way quieter, right?
Yeah, since we don't have it this
Won't
year.
have to smell diesel.
We will not have a generator this year, so we'll save a lot of funds on that. You also see it different, we won't have our staff in a tent this year. We've moved the Wibbit building from where it sits over the Wibbit, that storage building. We've moved it over to Wingfield Park. We're gonna insulate and put
that's
paneling on the
nice.
inside and
All the
serve
boots
it.
will fit in there too?
The boots are stayed locked up. They'll stay locked up in their cabinets on the outside, but the staff will operate out of that building. And
And how
then
do they get your boots?
We have a staff member that's over there, and so they'll rotate into the building to work the cashiering and rotate out of the building, and there's a.
Oh, the LMTP, the low man totem pole's the guy out there.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, even in last year when we had the heaters in the tent, we had several staff members that preferred to be working out on the boots or stuff, and even in the colder weather, they preferred being out there than.
And then, if I may, wasn't there a problem last year, and I don't remember if it was from the rink melting or from snow being left, you know, on that, it would be the uphill side as you're walking up, but it was wet and we were having to put straw and stuff there?
So it was from the, actually melt runoff off of the roof.
Okay.
The water would run off the roof and then run off onto the ground. We are fixing that this year. We're going to take all those runoffs and we're gonna put a pipe dig a small ditch, put a pipe underground that will take all that water out to the ditch, the
There's
existing
an
ditch.
existing drain from the other side.
Yeah, and so we'll run it all away from it now.
Anything else?
Matthew, there's one line in here under guidelines that is, I'm not quite sure what exactly it means, but it says no staff member shall leave the ice rink by themselves at the end of their shifts.
That's what he was just
That's what he was just talking about.
Yeah, I don't,
Security.
I don't want them one-offing just as, you know, somebody just, well, I'm done, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave. Because it's not safe. There could be somebody in the parking lot or something like that. They have to leave at least with one other person.
Okay, so what are the operating hours?
So, we will go till, it'd be
When do they-
5 to
when
8
is it?
PM on weekdays and then 11 to 8 on weekends.
Okay,
And so it's dark in the evening when they
so they
leave.
work a full shift, you don't have split shifts on that 11 to 8?
If it is split shift, normally not, but if it is split shift, it's not like one split. It'll be multiple will end at the same time.
Nobody will be left by themselves.
Yeah, nobody will be left by themselves.
Right, but what I'm getting is that if you're having a split shift and they're getting off work while it's still light, is that,
Well, those people are leaving. He's talking about people staying.
no, this says no person
I
shall leave.
would still prefer somebody walk with them to the
You're wanting
parking lot.
somebody to walk with them.
Yeah, I don't want them to leave alone.
Okay, so then you have somebody walking with them and that person has to walk back by themselves unless they're getting off at the same time.
Well, if it's like a manager, I'm fine with an adult walking out there and walking back.
Okay.
Or, you know, you can have two kids, the group of three go out, then the two come back or whatever.
Okay, well, just, because it says no staff member shall leave the ice rink by themselves, so now if you're saying it's okay for a manager to go out with them and then come back, see the conflict there? It's still a staff member, whether it's an adult or a child.
I can see it. It's geared more towards the youth of the,
I
just to
think it
keep the
just needs
youth.
to be worded a little bit differently, because there's room here that somebody, and I'm always looking at worst case, somebody can say, wait a minute, you didn't follow our own procedures that we set up, and you're allowing me to come back, and then if it's an
But I
adult,
also think then it's not the end of their shift. It's during the middle of their shift to walk somebody out and come back.
okay? That's for Zach to defend if there's ever anything coming up, but.
We'll make the change to that line item on there.
And then let's talk about accidents. So it's just standard 911 call.
Yes. Yes, we, a good portion of our staff out there are lifeguards in the winter, so they are first aid CPR certified. But it is just standard 911 call and fill out an incident report.
And so have you talked to EMS and those guys about procedures? You know, that one year we had the girl fall and hit her head, and then, you know, they didn't want her to move, they didn't want to do anything, but she was laying there on the cold ice for that 20 minutes until they got there, and, you know, there was conflicts. Have we had any of that discussion?
I haven't had that discussion.
If we could.
Yeah, I'll have that
Just
discussion.
because they had definite input on it that day that we were so worried about her concussion, that there was other things with getting too cold and.
Yeah, it's a very difficult, you know, it's same in a pool. If somebody falls and hits, you know, dives in and hits their head in a pool, it's, you know, when do you get them out and things like that.
And then you fill out a form that time.
Yes, sir. We actually have QR codes now that people can scan, fill out the incident report online. It automatically, once they hit submit, it sends an email to me, to the HR, to safety, and then to the supervisor, ice rink supervisor.
That's a good idea.
Very good.
As soon as an incident report's filled out, then we all get notified.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion for,
Mr. Mayor, move to approve updates to the ice skating rink standard operating procedure with the caveats and improvements and definitions of who shall walk with whom, be they staff member or not, to or from the ice rink.
Second.
Would you also like to remove the fees and the, that it's to the local,
And remove the fees to be in accordance with your other list of fees
and the change to the local passes?
and change to the local.
Well, if you remove the fees, then
You'll,
you don't have to address
you'll
that.
be out of.
okay, to be clear,
We,
we're talking about the walking back and forth and just remove the fees.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay?
And change the definition
Definition
of
of
locals to
locals.
be concordant with the previous motion.
I second it.
Any final discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Hooker,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye, sorry to pause. The only place I see locals even mentioned is under fees.
it's under procedures as well,
Isn't it?
right under fees, the next section under fees.
It's under
Next
procedures.
section of procedures. Oh, there we go, okay.
Okay, thank you, folks.
Thank
Item
you.
number 4, discussion and possible action on award ITB number 2024-005B River Channel Stabilization in Two Rivers Park to Adamo Sanchez Excavating and Trucking, Inc. in the amount of $406,785, no cents, including New Mexico GRT. Yes, ma'am, Ashley?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. This is to award the ITB that, we opened the bids last week, and so we're just requesting to award this ITB to Adamo Sanchez, who came in at the lowest bid. And this is going to be for location 25, for that sewer hazard mitigation project.
And I forgot, where are we getting the money for this one?
This is coming out of the RJU's budget. We did budget it whenever we came to you guys. And
Yeah, I remember we pulled it out of the restoration.
We
it's, here you go.
we used our RJU annual budget for, we put 2 different projects in our annual budget, and this is one of them.
Because we were going to tear out the trees if we took the other one.
Yes.
So I thought we've done this work already in that area, or is this in a different section of it?
This is a different, this is a different section, so the project that was completed was up more by Robin
Right.
Bridge.
Okay,
So that project kind of expand on, the upper portion of the river and the lower portion of the river. This one's gonna be right next to the playground.
okay. So I seem to remember there was one where we did, kind of from about the pedestrian bridge down to the other bridge just past the, Chamber of Commerce, right in front of the bank, right along the Chamber of Commerce. At one point, that's when Eric was here.
We were talking about it. Isn't that what
This
this
was,
is?
This one is just like, this one's right next to the playground. And it's gonna go up to the pedestrian bridge, so it's gonna be right at that playground and then going upstream. We don't go downstream to the chambers, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we did once, though.
Yeah, we
I
did.
thought we were,
We did do that, but I thought this was also covering the roadway where the railroad ties are to the second pedestrian bridge upstream.
It's just the little tiny pedestrian bridge, so if you took the playground at the downstream
Right.
portion, just right up to
Just
that
up to that
pedestrian
bridge.
that's where we're gonna.
And
This
where exactly, I'm trying to remember where the sewer line crosses there.
And this is gonna help armor that sewer line.
Right,
crossing.
but where it's,
It's
I
just
thought it was
below-
below the playground.
Sorry, I'm trying to picture it in my head, I apologize.
Adam?
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
It is, right? Right. Because I remember a gas line, high-pressure gas lines going just below that over too.
So there's a manhole right there in the corner of, where the bathrooms are there?
Yeah,
And it shoots,
straight, okay.
Thank you, Adam.
And Christella and Ashley, this was designed by Riverbend, correct? Okay.
Yeah, I think what I'm thinking about that we did in the past, it was from about where the pump was down past the chamber. So this is that next little section above that.
Correct.
Okay.
We need to do something soon about, on where those railroad ties are going up to that second. Yeah, I mean, I know it's nothing with the sewer or anything there, but walking by there, it's just eroding more and more, and before we know it, the road's gonna wash out.
We'll look into it.
So that, I mean, and yeah, it may not be the sewer line project, but that's where I thought we were going up to that pedestrian bridge when I was reading on it, so.
Okay.
Counselor Salas, there are some grant opportunities, and we'll make sure that we take a look at that and include it as part of this grant opportunity that just came out this week.
Okay.
Maybe we can address that utilizing those funds.
Okay.
Did Adamo do the one that was just
The
finished?
upstream one.
God,
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yes.
You did it in a weekend.
Yes.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Well, do you need a motion?
Yes.
I move that we accept the award of ITB 2024-005B River Channel Stabilization in Two Rivers Park to Adamo Sanchez Excavating and Trucking, Inc. in the amount of $406,785, including New Mexico GRT.
Second.
Okay, any final discussion?
Just, it's amazing looking at the two different contractors, how if you look at line by line, some
Yeah.
lines are so diverse where it's really low and really high, and then the next one is like, it flip-flops. It's just
It
like,
was very interesting looking at the two.
wow, how they can be so different. Yeah,
And the rocks were, the
Yeah.
cost of the rocks were a
yeah,
big deal.
yeah. Or even the tree, yeah, it's just like crazy. But, okay.
Okay, roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, item number 5 is discussion of possible action on the contract for river channel stabilization in Two Rivers with the Adamo Sanchez Excavating and Trucking Award via invitation to bid number 2024-005B in the amount of $406,785, including New Mexico GRT. So, okay, so it was 376 before GRT?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make a motion then.
Okay.
To approve contract for river channel stabilization in Two Rivers with Adamo Sanchez Excavating and Trucking, Inc., awarded via invitation to bid number 2024-005B in the amount of $406,785, no cents, including NMGRT.
I'll second that. And discussion, Mayor.
Yes.
I read over the contract and I don't see who's pulling the permit, the 404.
The permit was pulled as part of the sewer hazard mitigation, and so, that was pulled by the previous, or two previous village managers, Debbie Lee.
Okay,
And
I was just
so-
wondering if that
Yeah.
should be in the contract that a permit was pulled. I don't want to be responsible for the permit, I guess, is what we're getting
No, and
at.
so we had the permits pulled, and we are required to give the permits to the contractor, and they have to have the 401 permit on site. And
Right.
so we did give both of the permits over, whenever we do this contract, we'll have both of the permits given to them.
Okay.
They have it.
Okay, so then I was also, I'm trying to find it right quick, looking over the vegetation replacement for the willows. And what really caught my attention was the grass seed mixture. And I was wondering if, I was gonna ask T-Bone if he had any input for the mixture or any of this part being it in the park. Cause I know we got a lot of fescue. Did we ever get the rye going?
We got the rye going that one year, but without water, it doesn't
Right.
sustain itself when we have dry years. My suggestion would be make sure it's native.
And that's what I was getting at, but that's where I'm trying to find it, because this looks more like northern New Mexico grass mixture.
So Eric Boyda worked with Chris Phillips on developing a really good seed mixture that was native to New Mexico to be planted within either wetlands or riparian corridors. And so this seed mixture has just continued to move forward.
Okay.
That's what we've used.
I just really wanted to be sure T-Bone had input of what we're putting in the park, where the trees are going and all that, so.
And I'll run the seed mixture.
Well, we need to stipulate that if you don't put it in there, it may or may not, and I'm gonna say may not, happen.
See, the only thing I see that would work for us here is just the red fescue. I mean, yeah, I know the wheatgrass and the mountain brome and all that, but I would have thrown in some blue grama in there as well. Anyway, I mean, if this is what was discussed back then, I missed it back then, and this would move on. And the willow trees, yeah, I guess that'll work too.
It looks really nice up by Robin, so,
Yes, they've done a great job.
Yeah.
and I'm
Miss-
excited to continue this.
Mr. Mayor Rifle, that's page 38, if you want to speed through that, and it discusses specifically the seating.
I don't have any pages on mine.
At the bottom of the contract, each page is numbered, if you scroll down.
I'm looking, I don't see it
It's
on
under Part 3, Execution, Construction Methods, 3.01.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the appendix,
Oh,
where it has the scope of work and everything. That's way on the bottom, and they're not numbered. I was just looking at the mixture, so,
Yeah.
but anyway, that'll answer my questions then.
Ashley, I have a quick question. Since you said the permit was pulled under Debbie Lee, how long is the permit good for?
The permit, I believe, is still good through 2025, last time
Okay.
I looked at it.
Okay.
Yeah, we verified that it would still be good for this project and applicable to this, even though it's not AUI doing the work. We did double check all that, and they said it was fine.
And we
Okay.
do have email documentation backing it up as
Okay.
well.
So if there's any other work that we're planning along there, we need to get that done by 2025 as well.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, any others? Well, then we have the motion and the second, and a roll call, please.
Counselor Hooker,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
aye.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
aye.
All right, that concludes today's agenda. Being no further business, does anyone have anything? This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
When's the
Thank
lighting
you.
of the Christmas tree?
The 30th.
Okay, let me write that down.
Aw, I'm sorry, Joe.